found our new rig. Just kidding. We're here at the Florida RV Supershow. And if you can't find a rig here, you probably shouldn't be camping, because I'm pretty sure the entire inventory of the United States of RVs is here in this fairgrounds.
There are all kinds of makes, models, manufacturers here. It's super quiet right now because it's first thing in the morning on industry day. So it's not open to the public yet. A lot of the people are still inside. We're the only ones wandering around the RVs, I think, except some of the workers, and we wanted to take a look. But it's going to look very different here for the next few days when the public hits this place and tens of thousands of people come through here. But yeah, my first impressions are obviously, like you said, there's a ton of RVs of all shapes and sizes. I'm noticing a big Class B market and the B+. The other thing I've noticed right away is a lot more manufacturers are looking at beefed up Class Bs, meaning the vans that are going to be lifted and made for a little more off-grid use.
We're just excited to check out the show and, you know, come along with us as we tour the various rigs here, from the Class Bs to the Class As, everything in between, as well as checking out some of the vendors that are here as well. So this should be a lot of fun.
Here we go.
Well, it looked like this would be a lot of cupboard space until you open it up and realize it's your control panel. So a little less storage space, but it's nice. I'm still trying to figure out where I'm supposed to actually cook. Because if you're prepping dinner and you're got your veggies and everything and you got to wash them and put dishes, and then you're actually cooking something, you got your burner going, where am I actually supposed to put my pots and pans and cook dinner? Oh wait, way over here. That's not really convenient because A, half of it's under the cupboard, and B, if somebody was sitting there. So this has just been a challenge we have seen in a lot of RVs. It doesn't matter how big or small the RV is, the kitchen is still the last thing the manufacturers think about. And for the person who makes dinner, it's the most important thing that I think about. So I really think that we need to start rethinking some of the configurations to give us more counter space. Come on inside for a little surprise. Decent layout, bed, kitchen, etc. Now come into the bathroom. Got a nice shower. Got a sink. Got a toilet. Got a washing machine. You don't find washing machines in trailers of this size, so that's actually pretty impressive engineering that they fit that in here.
From a design standpoint, kudos to Black Series for doing this on their trailers too. Usually we complain about using up cupboard space for your control panel. Here's an area above the door. It's not really usable for a lot of storage space anyway. The whole control panel is up here. Nicely done. We've never really been in the market for a trailer or towable of any kind, but when you're looking at the Black Series, these are pretty interesting. They are definitely made to go off grid. They have no options. They come fully loaded with solar and batteries and everything to get you off grid, independent suspension, rock rails, diamond plate. They're beefy.
These are pretty impressive, and they have all makes and models, so depending on your price range and your size of your family, there's a model for everything, including some that are clearly just for 2 people and one that has a bunk model in it. There's some that have, they all have a dry bath. I think that is really interesting. They said something that all the women have requested is a dry bath. I guess I'm in the anomaly that I just would like to have a bath of any kind, and by bath I mean shower, but given coming from the road trek where basically our shower is in the aisle, I'll take any kind of bath. But we even found one with a washing machine in it. But I think they're really interesting layouts. They definitely are designed to go off-road. I think the fridge space in a couple of them is particularly tiny, given what it has. But also from the cooking perspective, they all come with an outside kitchen that pulls out with a sink and a burner stove. So I think that's really cool.
One of the reps from the manufacturer was talking about how people are getting out more, but they're finding that as more people are getting out, the folks who are used to getting off-grid and going out there are having to go even further to find some peace and quiet. And this is the kind of rig you're going to need to do that, because it's really going to get you out there. It's definitely something different here at the show.
Hard to believe this is in the bed of a truck. I don't know what kind of size truck you have to have this, but these are pretty ginormous. I mean, and I've seen a lot of truck campers where you don't have a lot of headspace, and I know I'm little, but it's actually pretty decent space around here. I think some decent cupboards. So far, the only thing I've noticed, let me come down, a big leap for Jesse, is the fridge is a little, or the microwave is a little high. I know I wouldn't be able to safely get anything out of there. Probably not a problem for most normal sized humans, but it is something to take in mind. Good sized fridge. We're starting to see that more. So I think manufacturers are finally taking note of customers who are looking for slightly bigger fridges to be off grid, or not off grid, but be out longer without having to restock. So looks nice. You checked out the bathroom here. Oh, that's decent. Nice little wet bath. Good counter space. Now, we need to take that counter space and put it in the kitchen. Cupboard under here? Oh, utility access. Huh. All in all, not so bad. The fancy thing about this truck camper, and I have never seen this, so must be something new, is it has a deck. Since when does a truck camper have a deck? This is my new office. Welcome. We're gonna totally tow this behind the road truck.
Looks like you got a TV, you got a little bed for nap time.
Yeah, it's perfect.
How much work is gonna get done?
Well, that's meant to be seen yet. So I finally discovered how to use the microwave. I only have to stand on this box down here. Oh my gosh, it's so tiny. Let me show you this fridge. Or this, let me show you this fridge. Just kidding, this microwave. Like, I'm pretty sure a plate will just barely fit in there. So apparently what I was standing on to get into the microwave is actually the shower. This is kind of an ingenious design. Don't pinch your fingers. Okay, so that lifts up. Pinch point, it even tells you. That lifts up. And then this cupboard up here opens. And anyway, somehow this whole thing pulls out and becomes a shower curtain, and so that you can stand in the tub and take a shower. Quite clever. In another model, they had the full shower open, so we can show you now with the full contraption. I actually think this is quite clever. It's actually a better shower than what we have in our rig, but essentially the same design where it kind of pulls out into the aisle. But because it's got the floor pan here, you're pretty contained, and decent little mechanism here, and then it's out of the way when you're done. And we also discovered that, well, maybe it'll be in the other rig. We'll have to check it out, but the portable toilet normally stores in the shower floor pan, so it's out of the way when you don't need it. As you can see, the width of the aisle is literally the width of my body. And if I had any bigger hips, I would not fit. So most people are gonna have to, well, not even with the backpack, are gonna have to go sideways between here. We talked to one of the reps and they said it's because these seats have to be wide enough to fit 2 full-size car seats comfortably and safely. And in order to do that, they had to make the seat a little bit wider, meaning you lose a little bit of aisle space. But it also means that you can carry your 2 kids in their car seats. So that is kind of a bonus because we don't always see that in a lot of rigs that don't have those extra seats. First impressions of the Storyteller Overland series is pretty impressive. The price point is a bit high, but you're paying for the quality and the engineering that makes it be an off-road vehicle with all of the creature comforts packed into a tiny little space and an engineering miracle and an engineering marvel between all of the shower and the way the seats configure and the bed and the storage space with being able to put bikes and other things in here. So quite impressive and actually really ingenious. First impressions are that this is a one-person RV because it's just tiny. And that one person has to be 4'11" and like 100 pounds in order to fit through the aisle. In all reality though, I'm a little curious because that is the entrance in and out of the bed. So that's gonna be a little cumbersome and challenging. And then the fridge and the bathroom are right here in front of it. So I don't know, interesting layout. Not sure how I feel. welcome to the bathroom shower. If you've ever watched Matt's RV reviews, you'll know he talks about the prime pooping position. And he can be pretty rough on what that means. And sometimes I look at it and go, no, Matt, that's fine. I want him to come in here because this is by no means a prime pooping position. I don't even know how you'd get to the toilet. Oh, and my knee is outside the door. I literally don't know how anybody taller than 4'11" is going to poop in this bathroom. Or anything else for that matter. I guess you're supposed to turn it. Well, okay, let's try that again. Well, now it's a little better. But now your arms are kind of squished here. Okay, either way. Oh, then you gotta watch your head. I guess it's ingenious at the same time. I think they're cramming a little too much into one space here, so I'm not sure how usable this would be. This could get really old really quickly. Well, this is something new. This is a Wingamm made in Italy on a Fiat chassis, something we have not seen before. And it's only 17 feet long, and they have really utilized the space very, very well. I'm impressed. One of the first things you'll notice right away is how white everything is. I mean, which makes the space also just feel so much bigger than it actually is. So maybe a little more to keep clean, but definitely makes it feel a lot bigger and just sleek and clean. And I mean, my gosh, look at this counter space. You know I love my counter space. And, you know, a nice sink. You've got an induction stove. The fridge is probably about the same size ours is. So, I mean, not big by any means, but usable. You know, this really cool sliding table. The most interesting thing so far about this is that the bed is up here. And while we haven't yet figured out how to make it come down, that's just such an ingenious use of space to get it out of the way so that you have all this living space. It appears you can still have the bed made, so it's not a quote-unquote full dedicated bed, but it basically is. So again, I just think this is a really unique design, and I'm kind of interested in learning more about it. It's got some nice outside storage for, you know, boots, electrical cords, chairs, all the dirty things that we don't ever want inside. And what's really cool about this is you can actually access it from underneath the dinette inside. So you can, that's pretty handy if you don't want to have to come out here to grab something. And now I'm taking my toilet for a walk.
That's priceless.
Still not a fan of the cassette toilets, but maybe it'll catch on someday.
And then you use this to step up there.
So it's not power or anything. It
No,
just the springs
push
pull it up and down for you.
Springs, yeah, and it's very easy to push up. You just grab it, push up. And if you're wondering about the bedding, you can have your pillows, your blankets, and everything. It'll still be locked in place, and you're just good to go.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I love it. It's about 600-pound capacity, so 2 adults could fit there comfortably. You have your night lights. Let me show that again. And both night lights have the screen and blackout shade on both, so you can both open, which is a very good feature. I love it. Could be laying down in the wilderness somewhere and get some fresh air, put the screens on both, don't worry about any bugs.
Super interesting design to see this coming over from Europe. One thing I will note, they said that it's on the Fiat chassis now coming over from Europe, but when they actually start producing them for here, it's going to be on the Ram ProMaster chassis, and it'll be gas powered instead of diesel, so a little bit different, but it's going to be great for the US market, I think, given its footprint is so small, but what it offers on the inside.
It's definitely unique, and I think very usable. One thing I think I said earlier that it was an induction stovetop. It's actually not. It's electric powered by diesel, and that's in the current version. It will be slightly different. It will be propane when it comes over on the US version, but just the slight differences there. It just is because they have to transition it over to American components. But all in all, this is going to be one worth checking out for sure. I'm sitting in a Thor Outlaw. It is a Class C toy hauler, and we believe it is a one-of-a-kind. They also make a Class A version, but we actually were really interested in the C version. We've actually seen this model in person at a campground. There was a family of 4 living in it, and we thought it was really ingenious because they were both working and homeschooling full-time, and so it seemed at the time, quote-unquote, the perfect rig. And we were actually really interested in, could we make this work for us? We've talked about having dedicated space for things, and having a toy hauler version would give you that because you can convert it to an office or an area to store things and have a lot of flexibility with the toy hauler model. But as we've thought about it more and really looked at it, we've actually found a few flaws that we're not sure make it the perfect rig. And when I say flaws, I don't mean anything super negative. I just mean that things that would not be compatible with our lifestyle. For instance, if we're really going to make a change, one of the things we want is a dedicated bed. And as big as this thing is, there's still no dedicated bed. You've got 2 couches that can fold out into a bed. You have the bed in the toy hauler that can come down from the ceiling, or you have the little bed above the cab, but that's really more for little kids. None of these options make a full-time dedicated bed, and none of them seem extremely comfortable. The other thing with the toy hauler is there's no heat in there because they assume that you're hauling things like a motorcycle or an ATV that have gasoline in them. And from a propane's perspective, from your heat, they don't want any of that back there because you might combust. So your only option for heat in the back is to run an electric heater, and that may not be an option if you're boondocking. So just a few things that we've thought about. Another thing we noticed, a quote-unquote flaw, is there's still really no dedicated cooking space. There's a sink and a stove, but no real area for like your pots and pans or to put any of your extra appliances, a toaster, what have you. So we're still on the hunt for that perfect kitchen layout. I think this is a really interesting rig overall, and it would work for a large family, whether it's you're traveling full time or you're just going out for weekends. It is an interesting layout. The toy hauler of a Class C is very unique and very flexible, but just some of those other things that you need to consider. I found our next rig. Come check it out. It has the 3 things that we want. It has a dedicated bed. It has a kitchen with counter space. Look at this lovely counter space. And it has a desk and an office. And it has a giant bathroom with like a cool shower and everything. Okay, Airstream, you outdid yourself on this one. I gave you a little grief for the Class B, but this, I don't know what model this is. I'll find out and we can put it here, but this is amazing. This is like the perfect 2-person, full-time living, working on the road style of rig. It's pretty much got everything you want. And bonus, it has a big refrigerator. Oh, look at that glorious refrigerator. Can this one go home with us?
We don't have anything to tow it with.
We can tow it with the van.
Keep on trekking.
And we'll see you out there.